Hey guys, I'm Darcy. I'm back for our last day of the Teen Job series. I hope that you found all of the previous videos helpful and found some tips that you can put to use as you're starting your job hunt for maybe the first time. Today, I'm going to talk about what to do once you've already got the job. So I'll just briefly touch on things you need to have with you for your first day at work and just what you should do to prepare. First of all, plan your outfit ahead of time. Now, Melissa already gave us some tips about how to dress for success, and I will give you one more piece of advice. Be a little dressier on your first day than you think you would need to be on an average work day. Melissa probably talked about this a little bit, but you really want to give a good first impression. Now, of course, if you're working a job where you have a uniform, this doesn't really apply, although if you have uniform, make sure that the clothes that you do pick out for that are clean, pressed, look like they're in good condition. A lot of places will require maybe black slacks and a button-down shirt or khakis, whatever. Just make sure that the stuff that you pick out is in good condition. It doesn't necessarily have to be brand new, especially if you haven't started getting paid yet. And then if you don't have a uniform, just dress up a little bit more than maybe you noticed people when you went in for your interview. For most office jobs, a pair of slacks or khakis and a button-down shirt or a polo would be fine. You really don't have to wear a tie on your first day of work unless it's a really specific industry like law or finance, which is probably not what you're doing for your first ever job. Pick out your outfit, lay it out the night before, try it on, make sure it looks good, and then just set it aside so it's right there when you wake up in the morning. You don't have to scramble if your alarm goes off or you hit the snooze button too many times. And that way you'll be all prepared to go. And in fact, everything that I'm going to tell you to bring with you, just make sure that it's by the front door, and then you don't have to worry about it. The other thing is that you should try and get a good night's sleep before your first day. I know that's often easier said than done, especially if you're nervous or anxious. Just do your best to relax later in the evening, get in bed a little earlier than you would, turn off your screens, and try to get a good night's sleep. Your first day, you can get a lot of information thrown at you. You'll probably meet a lot of new people. It can feel overwhelming. And you'll really be able to put your best foot forward if you got some good sleep. My other tip is please eat breakfast. Please eat breakfast before you go to work, even if it's just a piece of toast or one scrambled egg, or you grab a Pop-Tart on your way out. Get yourself some calories, get yourself some fuel. Like I said, you'll be taking in a lot of new information, and that takes up a lot of energy than we typically think that it does. And especially if your first job is gonna be at a cafe, a restaurant, a retail establishment, someplace where you're gonna probably be on your feet for a lot of the day, you really wanna make sure that you've eaten something. And you can set aside something early the night before so that, again, it's right by the door for you to grab on your way out. Even granola bars are fine. And really, you can throw some of those in if you're taking a bag to work with you, or toss them in your car, stick one in your pocket, just so that you have something to eat when you do get a break. You can have a little snack and get a little boost. You should also plan on either bringing lunch or some money to buy lunch. This might depend on what kind of job you have. If it's part-time and you'll be there for less than about 5 or 6 hours, you probably will not get a lunch break. You will probably get maybe a 15-minute break. If you're gonna be there for a full day, plan on lunch. You can call ahead of time and ask them, hey, is there a fridge that I can stick my lunch in? Usually when they offer you the job, you can ask questions like that about what to expect on the first day. They'll be happy to tell you, but just to be safe, it makes sense to pack a lunch that doesn't have to be refrigerated or heated up. PB&J is a classic, but also maybe have a couple bucks on hand just in case folks are going out to lunch that day. You might want to join them and socialize with your new coworkers. Or you might just need half an hour away from your new workplace to kind of calm down and take in the information that you've had thrown at you all morning. So plan ahead for your lunch. You might want to bring a water bottle with you so you have something to hydrate with. Different places you might not be able to keep that with you, especially if it's retail or food and bev, but you can usually keep something like that in the back, and that way you can run back there and get a drink of water if you're super thirsty. A couple other things that you need to plan ahead. Your commute. Know how you're gonna get to work in the morning before the first day. I think a lot of us who have a long work history have kind of messed this up a few times. You really don't want to be late your first day. You really never want to be late for work, but especially on your first day. So before you report for your first day, think about, how will I get to work? If you're driving yourself, know the route and leave early that morning just in case there's traffic. Here in Charleston, there's almost always morning traffic. If you're taking the bus, know what your bus route is, know the bus schedule, the time that you've got to get on there to get to work on time. If someone is dropping you off, please talk to them about picking you up a few minutes early. Be really clear with your ride about when you've got to leave the house. Being late on the first day is not a complete disaster, but it doesn't really make a very good impression unless there's some kind of horrible emergency. But usually when people are late, they're just late because they didn't leave early enough. So make sure that you figure out how you're going to get there. Think about it beforehand. Try to get there 10 minutes early. Don't get there super early because that's kind of weird. People won't know what to do with you if you get there too early, because remember, for them, this is just kind of a regular work day. For you, it's a big, huge deal. For them, they've got 10 million other things that they're dealing with. So 10 minutes early is a really good window. It gets you a little bit of extra time to kind of set your things down, take your jacket off, say hello to people. It gives them a good impression that you're going to be punctual, that you're responsible and take the job seriously. So do what you can to get there 10 minutes early. If you are like me and you are an anxious person, you can get there a little earlier and just wait outside. If there's a park nearby, if it's in like a shopping center, you can kind of go for a little walk around there. It's better to get there a little too early and kill a little bit of time than to get there too late and feel rushed and nervous. So all that is stuff that you should prep ahead of time. A couple other things that you want to keep in mind. You are going to want to bring everything that you need to fill out your first day paperwork. Now, when you are actually offered the job, usually someone will call you and offer the job. You can ask them right then, what should I bring for my first day? Usually you've got to have some form of ID, whether you have a driver's license or a state ID, whatever your official government photo ID is, bring that with you. They will probably want your social security card. Your parents might keep that for you if you're still underage. If you're older, you need to know where your social security card is. Make sure it's in a safe place. For your first day at work, they might want to have you bring that with you. There might be some other documents that HR wants. A lot of places pay by direct deposit these days. And what they usually need to set up a direct deposit is one of your checks from your checkbook voided. And a voided check just means you write void in really big letters across the check and tear it off and bring it to them. That gives them all the bank account information they need to set up your deposit. Now, a lot of places, especially food and bev, especially retail, might still give you a physical check. So just ask them when they call to offer you the job, say, do I need to bring any paperwork for HR? Do I need to set up direct deposit? They'll tell you exactly what to bring. There might be other documents that you need. They will probably ask you to fill out a W-2 employment form. That's for tax purposes. I'm not going to go into all the details of how to fill that out here, but we will drop a link down in the post that'll kind of walk you through what you should think about ahead of time for that. It's kind of a separate topic. And again, especially if you're young, especially if this is kind of your first job, they will be totally understanding that you don't know exactly what to bring off the top of your head. It's okay to ask. It's not a stupid question. That's what they're there for. So ask them about all the documentation that you need and take all that and put it by the front door with all the other stuff that you're trying to remember to bring. Make sure that you've got it all put together the night before so you don't have to scramble. A couple of other things you should bring with you, especially if you are going into some sort of office job, if you're going to be a receptionist, bring a little notepad and a pen or a pencil, something to write with. You may not end up needing to take notes, but it looks good if you're prepared to. And also, I find that I always think in like a first day situation, oh, I'll remember that. And then later I don't remember it because it's an overwhelming day. You're probably nervous and anxious, and the kinds of things that you would normally remember might slip your mind. So bring something to write with. Now, in a lot of retail or food and beverage, Jobs where there's a more corporate element, you're probably going to go through a lot of training on the first day. Most places now give you some kind of like workbook that you'll be able to take notes in. But plan ahead and bring your own stuff just to be on the safe side. Make sure that you are prepared for a little bit of small talk. This is something that we don't normally think about planning ahead for, but it's your first day, you're a new coworker, and so the people there are probably going to ask you about yourself. What do you like to do in your spare time? That kind of thing. Where do you go to school? Where did you go to school? Just be cognizant of the fact that people are probably going to ask you more personal questions than you tend to hear on a day-to-day basis. You might want to think about your answers to those questions. You don't have to prepare a whole written sheet of answers for personal questions, but what have you been reading lately? What's the last thing you watched on TV that you really liked? Just kind of be mentally and emotionally aware for the fact that people are going to show a lot of interest in you because you're the new person. And be prepared to talk to people about what their deal is. How long have they worked here? Are they from this area? That kind of stuff. Small talk is kind of a skill like any other, and it's something that you get better at the more you do it. And we usually don't start doing a lot of that kind of stuff until we're in the working world. It doesn't come up a lot at school because at school you're kind of with people that you've known for a long time. But in a work environment, you're kind of thrown together with people from all over with different experiences and stuff like that. And they're people that you haven't known before. So don't feel too awkward or weird or nervous. People just want to get to know the person that they're going to be working with for hours on end every day. So keep that in mind. That's kind of it, you guys. The biggest possible piece of advice I can give you for your first day is to get everything together the day before and just be ready. Get some sleep, wake up early, have your clothes all set out, brush your teeth before you leave the house. Brush your teeth. You might want to throw a stick of gum in your pocket just in case. These days, don't forget your mask. Don't assume that you are going to be in a mask-free environment. I know more and more people are getting vaccinated these days, but the mask is something else you need to have by the front door ready to go. And have fun. Your first day at work might feel a little overwhelming, but people expect you not to know everything yet, so it's totally fine. You'll probably do a lot of training, you'll probably be introduced to people. Just try to be relaxed and be yourself, and we know that you'll do great. So good luck at work.